At first, attention feels completely normal. You notice someone, you interact, you think about them again. Nothing feels forced. It feels like simple interest. But there is a question here. Why does attention sometimes stay longer than expected? Why does it return even when nothing new is happening? Attention does not stay by accident. Repetition is the first part of the mechanism. When something appears again and again, the mind begins to register it as important. You see them, you think about them, you remember small details. Each exposure makes the next one easier. Not stronger, just easier. Familiarity reduces resistance. But repetition alone does not create attachment. What changes everything is interruption. A moment of attention followed by absence. A response followed by silence. Something begins and then it stops. The mind does not like unfinished patterns. Interruption creates return. Now attention starts coming back on its own. You replay moments. You anticipate what might happen next. You think about what is missing. Not because something is happening, but because something was not completed. Unfinished pulls attention back. This creates a loop. Attention appears, disappears, and then returns again. Each cycle makes the pattern easier to repeat. You no longer need a strong trigger. The loop itself becomes the trigger. The pattern becomes automatic. At this point, attention is no longer fully controlled. You do not decide when to think about it. It happens. You notice it returning without effort. And that is where the shift begins. Attention stops waiting for permission. Nothing dramatic has changed on the surface, but internally, the system is different. Attention is no longer tied to what is happening now. It is tied to what was started and not finished. The past starts driving focus. So return to the question, how does attention become addiction? It is not intensity. It is repetition with interruption. It is the loop that keeps restarting without your decision. And once attention begins to return on its own, it is no longer just attention. In the next lesson, we move further. What happens when you begin acting on it? What repeats begins to control.